Hello and welcome to part 6 of my big journey through snowy Japan. In the last episode, I explored Japan's northernmost city, visited the northernmost point of Japan, and also stopped by the northernmost train station and even the northernmost McDonald's. And today begins my journey back to the warmth of Tokyo. Thanks for clicking on the video and let's get started. So, because first I thought about taking the bus, but then I realized I don't have enough small money to pay it. I could use the money exchange machine in the bus, but I don't know how it works. And since it's only 2 kilometer walk and it's not that cold, I think my phone says it's -8, which is really cold, but it does not feel that cold because I have a lot of clothes on. And so I'm walking to the northernmost station right now, buying something to eat for today at Seiko Mart, get some change and then head south. When I arrived at the station, there were already a lot of people lining up, and that was despite the fact that the train wouldn't depart for another half an hour. Because of that, I decided not to line up immediately, but instead buy something to eat first and have breakfast while sitting down. By the time I finished eating, the line had basically doubled in size, and I was pretty sure I had no chance of getting a seat. Which was especially bad because I was about to spend almost 4 hours on that one train. The train was scheduled to leave at around 10:30. On this graphic I will show which trains I took throughout my journey. The first train departed from Wakkanai station, the northernmost station in Japan, which is actually about 2.5 kilometers further north than Minami Wakkanai station, which is shown on the graphic right now. Unfortunately, I don't have much footage from the return trip, so this part of the journey will have to be a bit shorter. When boarding finally started, I somehow still managed to get a seat, but unfortunately many people were standing near the windows, and the windows themselves stayed fogged up for most of the time, so I wasn't able to film very much. There was also another problem during the ride. We had to wait for a delayed train coming from the opposite direction. Since this railway line basically runs through the middle of nowhere and it had snowed heavily during the night, the risk of delays was fairly high, and I only had about 25 minutes to transfer at the next station. I absolutely had to catch all of my connections if I wanted to reach my destination today using only local trains. Otherwise, I would have to take plan B and take limited express trains, which would have been much more expensive. Thankfully, everything worked out and we arrived in Naioro with only about a 12 minutes delay. Unfortunately, I wasn't as lucky on the next train and had to stand for the entire ride. From that point onward, the journey itself was fairly uneventful. At 15:57, we arrived in Asahikawa, where I had stayed overnight on the way north. From there I continued to Iwamisawa, arriving at 17:55. After that came Shiroshi at 18:41 until I finally arrived in Tomakomai at 20:14. Since I still had almost 2 hours until my next bus, I bought something to eat at the station convenience store. Yeah, I basically hadn't eaten anything since the morning, and spent some time exploring the area around the station. So I was eating some good combini food I bought before I started my trip in Wakkanai, and I also bought something right now so that I have a bit of something to eat. I ate some sandwich, some pancakes with what's it called in English? Acorn? No. Acorn? It's acorn, not? Like the thing Canada is famous for? Isn't it acorn syrup? I'm not sure. But like pancakes with that and butter, they were really good and only 120 yen or so. Yeah. Um, Here at the bus station in 30 minutes or so, the bus to the ferry should come. It's cold everywhere. It's cold in the station. It's cold here. I'll probably go back to the station though. It was really cold, which definitely didn't make the waiting very enjoyable. Still, I actually liked the atmosphere here quite a lot, especially because many of the trees were decorated with Christmas lights. I already mentioned this briefly at the end of the last episode, but my plan for the day was to take a ferry from Tomakomai to Hachinohe on Honshu. For me, this was both the cheapest and fastest way to continue my journey back south. The ferry departs around midnight and arrives the next morning at about 7:30, and my small room on board only cost around 8,000 yen, or about 40 euros, so it was definitely the best option. On top of that, this was my very first time riding a proper ferry. Until now, I had only ever been on small boats during sightseeing tours lasting maybe 1 or 2 hours. So this was a completely new experience for me. At around 10 pm, the bus finally arrived to take us to the ferry terminal. And once we got there, we still had to wait until about 11 pm before boarding started. Okay, so before I go to bed now, I have to record a short video. So this is my room. Like, it's a really small room tour. Like, there are different sizes. Um, I will probably explain it in a voiceover exactly because it's not easy to do it like that. But the prices are really good. Like, it's really cheap. This small room here, together with the transportation, is like, I think 8,000 yen, which is less than 50 euros. So it's, or like around 50 euros, I think. So it's, you can't complain. You really can't complain. Yeah, I ate some ice. I did some explored the ship a bit. I was on the deck, and I thought, if I have to check out the weather tomorrow. As I don't have Wi-Fi right now, so I can't check stuff. But I really want to go on the deck tomorrow to see the sunrise. I think that would be so nice if the weather is fine at least. Yeah, because I was on the deck earlier a bit and it was a crazy feeling, like the wind, the dark sea. It felt really wild. So yeah, I want to check it out tomorrow. So I don't know when the sun rises. I think probably after 6, but I will get it up at 5:50 because I really don't want to miss it. That means I have 4 hours of sleep. It should be enough. So yeah, until then, bye. Ah, yeah, of course, real adventures. 4 hours of sleep is definitely going to be enough for you. I absolutely agree at that point. Well, anyway, once I got onto the ship in the evening, I first quickly settled into my room before securing a table by the hallway windows where I recorded the time-lapse shots and ate the food I bought at the station earlier. After finishing everything, I went to bed and woke up again only 4 hours later, just to realize that it still was dark and it was way too early. So instead, I packed all my things and got everything ready before heading out onto the deck at sunrise. It was extremely windy and cold, at least where I was standing at first, Eventually, I found a more sheltered spot protected from the wind. And honestly, it was really beautiful out here in the morning. Most people were probably still asleep, so there were only 2 or 3 other people on deck with me, quietly watching the beautiful sunrise and the almost completely cloudless blue sky. But once I could finally see the coastline appear in the distance, it slowly hit me that this journey was coming to an end. And not just the ferry ride, the trip as a whole. That felt strangely emotional, partly because I honestly don't know if I'll ever get a chance to do a journey like this through Japan again, and also because I'll probably never see most of the places from this long trip throughout northern Japan ever again. Shortly before arrival, there were several announcements in Japanese that I barely understood, but I simply packed up all of my things and waited until we arrived and could leave the ship. And there I was, Hachinohe. There was barely any snow left here, but now in daylight I had finally the chance to properly look at the ferry itself. And I have to say, it was actually a really beautiful ship. Not long after arriving at the ferry terminal, I took the bus to Hachinohe station, where I ended up talking to a group of travelers who had apparently taken the same trains as me ever since Wakkanai and were also heading back towards Tokyo. From Hachinohe, I took the train to Hachinohe station and then boarded the Shinkansen. But the journey still wasn't over yet. There was one final thing I wanted to do, and for that I had to get off my Hayabusa Shinkansen in Morioka and transfer to a Kodama service. To explain, on most Shinkansen lines there are different service types. While the Hayabusa only stops at the major stations, the Kodama stops at every Shinkansen station along the route and is therefore a bit slower. But because of that, it also offers non-reserved seats that are cheaper and don't require a reservation. And since Morioka was the starting station of that train, I was guaranteed to get a good window seat. And in the next episode, you'll find out where my final stop was and why I switched to the Kodama. I'll just say this, at the station where I made my final stop, I experienced something pretty incredible. Something that honestly exceeded even my expectations. Oh shit. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe and all the other good stuff. And see ya next time. Bye bye, see ya.